Good afternoon, almost good evening. What's up? It is a little later in the day, 4:45 here on the West Coast p.m. Been a busy day. I had to work a lot this morning. Just tired. Wasn't feeling too good either, but pull through it. How's everybody doing? Drop a little intro. We'll get to it. What is up? What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? What is up? How's it going? Happy Friday! We are here. We are here, and it's almost game day. We're getting closer every day. What's up, Nia, Pac-Man, Zay, Eric, Niner Sickness Podcast? What's good, baby boy? 49ers dog, Christy Marie. What's up? All the usual suspects that are dropping in first. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the live. Happy Friday, Niner Sickness Podcast. Happy Friday to all. What's up? Everybody hit that like button if you can. Let's get to it, baby. We got a game on Sunday, and it's finally the weekend. This week went by pretty fast. I'm not going to lie. When we win, it's always good vibes. So I'm excited. I still am on a high from Monday night. I don't think it's going to end, especially if we win this weekend, which I think the Niners will win. We're going to do our predictions. I'm going to have you guys ask questions. I can't talk today. Ask questions. We'll answer those about the game. We'll kind of preview it up. We've talked a lot about this game coming up, but we'll talk a little bit more. I think the Niners can just go crazy because the Carolina Panthers just don't have a good offense. Baker Mayfield's literally the worst rated quarterback in the NFL, and that's going to, this is not a good game for Baker to jumpstart his season and bounce back because he's playing the best defense in the NFL, the 49ers. Our defense is so elite. But, if he comes out swinging and he has a good game against the Niners defense, that's a big momentum builder for them. So, right now, the Carolina Panthers, they're kind of struggling. 1-3. Their head coach, Matt Rule, is kind of on the hot seat, especially if they lose this game. This is a big game for Carolina. This is kind of a must-win game for them. Not kind of. It is a must-win game for them. So, they're going to be playing their ass off at home. They don't want to lose this game, So they're going to come out swinging. They're going to be shooting for the fences. But the Niners, man, we just came off a massive dub on Monday Night Football. Woo! Less than 48 hours. We came off a monster win against the the Super Bowl champs. Not just the NFC champs, the Super Bowl champs. Niners knocked them off. And they got momentum coming into this game. And this defense is on a blistering pace right now. We saw today the Niners were ranked as the number one defense in the NFL. We've talked about it all week. The stats they're putting up is insane. And they might get some return of Jimmy Ward this week. They haven't made it 100% official. So Kyle Shanahan did talk to the media today, and he said that they're probably not going to take Jason Verrett off the PUP list just yet. That's what we talked about. No need to rush him. He's back in practice. Let's get him into form, get his legs under him. But they said Jimmy Ward maybe. They're going to make an announcement by tomorrow. They're going to talk about it today. Well, they probably did talk about it, and they'll make their announcement tomorrow, what are they going to do. And on the other side of it, on the Niners defense, they kind of got some bad news there. Arik Armstead, he's dealing with the foot injury, not just on one foot, but on both now. He had the plantar fasciitis, and now the other foot is hurt, and they might have to put him on the injured reserve, according to Kyle Shanahan. It's kind of what I suspected. Plantar fasciitis is one of those nasty lingering issues. So he was probably out there on Sunday and putting a lot of pressure on the opposite foot, and it caused that foot to get hurt. So, you're putting a lot of strain. So you don't want to hurt the foot that had the issue initially, so then you hurt your other foot. It's compensation, unfortunately. So that's kind of unfortunate for Armstead and the Niners. But the good thing is the Niners have great depth. Kevin Givens and Ridgeway have been great. Javon Kinlaw also is not going to play this week. He was ruled out, and he's probably not going to play next week. The knee issue is swollen up, flaring up. ACL recovery is not easy. I said this all off season. I don't know how the knee's going to hold up. I'm surprised his knee's holding up and not Mike McGlinchey, because he also went through a really bad injury, quad tear. So I'm still going to keep an eye on McGlinchey, see if that knee flares up any point in the season. But right now, McGlinchey's out of the clear, and he's played well. O-line's been pretty solid during the 2 wins we have. When the O-line's been good, the Niners have been good. The O-line's been a little bad, the Niners have been bad. So I kind of, got to win in the trenches. It's about the battle of the trenches. But yeah, bad news for Armstead and Kinlaw. But the good news is Jimmy Ward and Jason Wright should be back pretty soon. So little Pat G says, why can't our players stay healthy? That's the NFL. Unfortunately, I feel like the Niners are a very physical team. Well, not unfortunately, but unfortunately, I think because they're a very physical team, that is why they get hurt, because they play so physical, and it just causes them to get hurt. I've seen them practice a lot. I was at training camp, and then man, they're a physical team. So that wears your body down. Unfortunately. Good news on Trey, 97 problems. Yeah, the news on Trey is, he got his cast taken off this week. He's been around the team. He's been doing, what has he been doing? He's been doing the Zoom meetings. He's not allowed to travel yet. They don't want him to go on the airplane because his foot can still swell up. So you got to give it a couple more weeks. But eventually, when the doctors clear him, he will be able to go and travel with the team. But he's got a little bit more time. You don't want that foot to swell up. This is a tough situation when you have orthopedic injuries. And I deal with this a lot. When I've had patients, they ask me, they're like, hey, do you think I could go on an airplane and stuff? And then we, talk to the ortho, and they're like, it just really depends on the time of the injury. If it's still early in the game, you don't want to throw someone up in that cabin pressure and have that swelling. So Trey Lance, probably another 2 weeks until he's cleared to travel with the team. So my man Sacktown says, rest Kinlaw, we can still go on a run, 100%. And see, that's the thing. Like, Kinlaw's getting dragged in the media, man, and dragged by the fans. I feel bad for Kinlaw. I get it. The injuries, he's, hasn't lived up to his draft potential and his high 13th pick in the NFL draft. Like, he's definitely hasn't been what we wanted, right? I mean, you can throw the word bust out there, and I wouldn't disagree with you. But it's just unfortunate because he has the talent. He is a good player, just never can stay on the field. And then those knee injuries are pesky. But the good news is the Niners have great depth. Hassan Ridgeway's played pretty good. And Kevin Givens, I can't talk about this guy a lot. Like, every time I see him out there, I'm like, this guy's just doing good work. I call him the garbage man because he's out there just doing the dirty work, just going out there, getting his hands dirty in the trenches, and taking double teams. Kevin Givens is a blue-collar baller type guy, right? We call him the blue-collar baller, a garbage man. That's the best way you can describe it. Doing the work that nobody wants to do. The dirty work. Getting in there. Getting dirty in the trenches. Love Kevin Givens. And I think that is the reason why this team is going to be a dominating team throughout the year, because they have some bullies on their team and they're not even starting. And, Armstead will come back eventually. And they're only going to make this team stronger. But the depth on this team is incredible. So, Little Pat says, before long, Hufanga is going to be the best safety in the league. I think he is the best safety in the league right now. I mean, I love Minkah Fitzpatrick. I love Derwin James. I love some of these guys out there. But, I mean, who's playing better than Hufanga right now? Nobody's tell me who's playing better than Hufanga. Statistically, nobody's playing better than Hufanga. Like, it's just a fact right now. He's killing it out there. Like, he's killing it. You throw it to Hufanga's way, he's probably going to make a big play. PBU, interception. He's causing something. He's caused a couple other interceptions, right? A little deflection, interception from Gibson. The guy's been money. I think Hufanga has been the best safety in the NFL. Baker Mayfield is going to have a long day on Sunday with this secondary. We've talked about it all week. This secondary is so good, man. Absolutely crazy. Any worries for Panthers? 97 Problem says, knowing Jimmy was interested in going there. Well, I think there was a few teams interested in Jimmy, and I'm sure Jimmy was looking through the process. I was listening to the Tim Kawakami podcast this morning. Very interesting. He talked about his shoulder surgery and the trade. He talked about it yesterday in his press conference. Sorry. And, we've heard about this stuff during the times Jimmy's been back. And, it is interesting. Carolina was a team that was going to get him, but they went with Baker. They weren't sure with Jimmy's shoulder, and it did throw a little wrench in the plans. And Jimmy was talking about it. He says, I had to make sure I was healthy, because he didn't want to go through the whole trade process if he didn't know if he was going to be healthy, because – and he also wanted to take the safe route. If you stayed with the Niners he didn't know they were going to keep him, but there was a chance that, he could stay around the facility and train, and he knows the players, and it'd be a more comfortable situation. And ultimately, the Niners kept him around, and it worked out for Jimmy. And, I'm sure there's going to be that lingering thought like, oh, what if I was on the Panthers, because he'd probably be doing better than Baker Mayfield. But I don't think he's going to, use this as a revenge game. I don't even think he's going to be, worried, oh, I could have been here. I don't even think that crosses his mind, because he even said, he goes, ultimately, it worked out for me, and I'm happy that I'm here, and I'm sure the Niner fans are happy. It's unfortunate what happened to Trey Lance, but it is a good thing that we have Jimmy as a backup. I think he'd be better than a lot of the options out there. So, and Jimmy's well respected by the players. So it's going to be interesting, though, to see Jimmy go out against a team that he probably could have been playing for, and he's probably better than the quarterback they have right now, Baker Mayfield. So definitely, for a fan's perspective, it's interesting. It's interesting to see that dynamic, because this whole offseason was just so much drama, right? Aside from the Debo and everything else, it's just QB drama, like it has been the last 2 years, right? Jimmy Garoppolo is going to get traded. He's going to get traded, all the rumors, and the way it ended. And now he's going to get to play against one of those teams that, he was probably going to go to. So it's going to be a fun game, though. I think the Niners are going to do well. I think Jimmy's going to do well. And I've said it all week. And now the more I think about it, the Niners offense, I feel, is going to get crazy. They're going to go off. The Carolina defense, I got to give them credit. They have a good defense, man. Brian Burns, he's going to get to the quarterback. He's going to try to get to Jimmy. The Niners O-line have a test in front of them, because Brian Burns is a beast. And they got J.C. Horn. He's a lockdown cornerback. He is tough, man. They got some dogs on that defense. They're a high-scoring defense. I think they have more points scored on their defensive side of the ball than their offense. Their offense is so bad. The Niners and Panthers both have really slow, sluggish offenses right now. They're both not playing good. So it could be an ugly game. We saw that Denver game last night in the Colts. It could be as bad as that game. But I have a feeling, I just have this gut feeling, the Niners offense is going to take off. It's going to take off tomorrow, or Sunday, sorry. And I think this is George Kittle's breakout game. I think he's close to having a breakout game. I feel George Kittle, breakout game. Yesterday, Jimmy Garoppolo was talking about he's not worried about Kittle not having a big game yet. He says in due time. John Lynch said it earlier this week. He says he's not worried about it. He's going to get his targets when he needs to. And George Kittle said it today. He goes, I really don't care if I'm not having big stats as long as the team is winning. We know George Kittle's all about going in and getting the blocks, going in and doing what it takes to get blocks, right? And I don't think George Kittle even cares that he's not getting big stats. He's getting paid regardless, right? He's happy, and he's getting out there helping the run game and helping the blocking, So, in the end of the day, Kittle's helping us, but I have a feeling Kittle's going to go and have a George Kittle day. This might be one of those games where oh, wow, George Kittle, he's tight end one. You know what I mean? I think this is going to be a George Kittle day. I just have this feeling. Calling it right now. 100 yards, tutty, George Kittle, big game, and everybody's going to be hyped up. Oh, my God, George Kittle. And in the comments, you're going to go, where are all the people that want to trade Kittle? That's what I feel is going to happen. I don't know. Book it here. Take the receipts. George Kittle, big game. Take it to the house. MIA. Hit that like button, baby. What's up, Raj? We talked earlier. It's Gabriel. What's up, GP? What's up, my man? How you doing? 97 promises. I think Jimmy will get Kittle and Ayuk involved. I think he's going to try to get them involved more, but I just have this feeling that Kittle's going to break out. Niner sickness is Brian Burns. He's the only pass rusher they have. He's a good one. I'm telling you, man. Brian Burns, he's good. He's solid. I think he's one of the better pass rushers in the league. I love his little Spider-Man sack celebrations. I hope we don't see any Spider-Man sack celebrations, because if he does celebrate it, that means he's going to be doing it to us, and I don't want us to be getting sacked. And this O-line played pretty well last week. Then no sacks allowed against Aaron Donald. If they can allow no sacks allowed against Aaron Donald, I think they could do it against Brian Burns. Although Brian Burns is quick off the edge. Holy smokes. It's going to be a big test for Jalen Moore. This is going to be a huge test. There's no Trent Williams, so they're going to blitz that left side. They are. And then Mike McGlinchey, maybe they'll push him on that right side, but he's kind of held his own this year. Mike McGlinchey's played pretty good overall. So if you look at his metrics and stats and everything, overall, not bad. Not bad. Burns ain't Bosa. Yeah, he's not. He's good, though. He's definitely not better than Bosa. Bosa's the guy. Going back to that draft a couple years back, it was Bosa, Burns, Josh Allen. It was all the pass rushers. And who is the Niners going to get? And I remember Josh Allen, ride the wave, Brian Burns, Beehive. Oh, my God. Nick Bosa, is he going to stay healthy? He's injury prone. And ultimately, the Niners went with Nick Bosa, and that was the best pick they could make. And I'm glad they did. Glad they didn't listen to anybody else like me. So I would have drafted. Yeah, it was great. That was a fun draft, though. That draft type was fun. But, Brian Burns has done well. Josh Allen has done well. And Nick Bosa has done incredibly well. But Nick Bosa is definitely the best of them all. He's one of a kind. He's just so much better than anybody right now. He's just on a tear. And I think Bosa is going to have, somebody in the comments said, what's his stat line? I think Nick Bosa is getting at least 2 sacks. At least 2 sacks. I mean, I think he's going to be whipping around the corner. Carolina, man, they just can't protect Baker, and Baker's been horrible this season. I think Nick Bosa is going to get his revenge part 2 on Baker. I remember the last time Nick Bosa played Baker. Cleveland, and he hit him so hard. He planted the flag. That was one of the most iconic moments in 49ers recent memory, because you remember Nick Bosa wanted revenge for Baker Mayfield planting the flag on him in college, and he got the revenge. And that was a fun moment. That was such a cool moment. He comes out there, waves, and he just swings, plants the flag, and then after the game, he took the real flag. He planted it down on Levi's Stadium. That was so much fun. What a game. I think Nick Bosa gets 2 sacks and gets more revenge on Baker. Niners sicknesses. Aren't we glad the Niners took Bosa? God, I'm so glad. That was definitely, like I said, that was the money pick. That was the right move. And I'm so happy they took him. I mean, that draft was crazy. We didn't know. There were so many smoke screens. I remember at one point, John Lynch and the media, they had convinced everybody that Quinnen Williams was going to be the pick. Everybody thought, oh, my God, the Niners are going to take Quinnen Williams. They're going to take Quinnen Williams. And no disrespect to Quinnen Williams. He's a phenomenal player. But I would have been so sick to my stomach if they would have taken Quinnen Williams over Nick Bosa. Could you imagine if we would have had Quinnen Williams and not Nick Bosa? Oh, my God. That was insane. Oh, my God. King J says, we scored 51 on him in 2019. It's going to be a blowout. We did. I remember that game. Gerald McCoy at the beginning of the game. We want all the smoke. And they got just bullied, 51 points. I don't know if it's going to be a blowout like that, because I do think Carolina has a pretty good defense. And then, the offense of the 49ers hasn't been cooking, right? Just haven't been cooking. But I think this is the game where they, kind of wakes them up. This is a game where I think the Niners kind of figure out their identity a little bit more. I started to feel like on Monday they were feeling their identity, and I was like, okay, I think this is a game. I think that the Niners will score about 30 points. I don't think that they're going to score 50. If they score 50, if they drop a 50 burger, my man, I will be so happy if we get a 50 burger. But I'm okay with 30. I'm okay with the points, man. I think we could if we score 30, King. If we score at 30 points, I'm cool with it, man. Give me 30 points, I'll be happy. And the 10 points and stuff like that we've been scoring. I think we could drop. Okay, here it is. Let's make my prediction, my final prediction. Niners 30, Carolina 6. 30-6. The Niners defense, they ain't going to let these guys get a touchdown. Baker Mayfield's the worst quarterback in the league right now. He has got, let me pull up some Baker stats. Let's see, what are the Baker stats? Let's see. I think Baker Mayfield's going to get just crushed on, let's see. Baker Mayfield. He's got the NFL's worst offense. And the 49ers are the best ranked defense. Look at this. No NFL quarterback has struggled quite as much this season as Carolina's Baker Mayfield, right? This is crazy. It says Mayfield joined the Panthers in July, blah, blah, blah. He has struggled mightily, right? He's completed a league low 54.7%. 54.7% of his passes, while being limited to 186.7 yards per game with 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. He can't even throw 200 yards a game. 186.7 yards. That is so anemic. Oh, God. The Niners defense are coming for his neck. Yo, worse than Justin Fields, worse than anybody. The worst quarterback in the league. A league low. 54.7% of his passes. 186.7 yards per game. Oh my God, that's bad. Like, they got some players, Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore. That's about it, right? I know they got who's the speedster? Robbie Anderson. You ain't gonna use a speedster if you can't throw the ball, if you can't do much. We allow this secondary. So okay, you got Charvarius Ward. Yo, I'm gonna lock up Roby. I'm gonna lock him up. I'm gonna go throw. Actually, no, I'll put Charvarius Ward on Moore. Okay, because he's the wide receiver one, and I think Charvarius Ward's man coverage skills are just second to none. You put Charvarius Ward on DJ Moore. Clamp ain't getting nothing on me. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go put Emmanuel Mosley on Roby Anderson, and he's gonna be physical with them. He's gonna be a dog with them. A physical cornerback will always limit a speedy guy because speedy guys get frustrated. They can't break off the line because they're getting bullied. They're getting pushed around. Emmanuel Mosley ain't gonna fuck with this guy. Sorry, excuse my language. Emmanuel Mosley's a dog, and he's gonna about to rip him up. So you got Emmanuel Mosley. You're gonna play coverage on this guy Roby Anderson. He's gonna eat him up. Okay. Then you got the slot guy, Deommodore Lenoir, who's playing good, and he's physical too. Deommodore Lenoir is physical. You can blitz him in. You got Hufanga and Gibson, and maybe Jimmy Ward plays this game. I don't know. It's gonna be crazy. And then okay, you got Christian McCaffrey. What's up, Slasher? You got Christian McCaffrey. Cool, buddy. Cool, buddy. We know they're gonna give you the ball. We stack the box, and guess what we're gonna do to you? Guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna hit you with Dre Greenlaw. We're gonna hit you with Fred Warner. We're gonna hit you with Talanoa Hufanga. If Christian McCaffrey survives this game, good luck. Power to you. Power to you. More power to you. If CMC survives this game, I will be surprised. I don't want to wish any injuries on it. I'm just saying this defense is so physical, and knowing Christian McCaffrey's history, I'm just saying Christian McCaffrey. I pray for prayers up to Christian McCaffrey for what's about to come to him. That's it. Christian ain't getting through the nine. That's right, King. He ain't getting right. I'm a menace. Badger says I'm a menace today. I'm feeling so hyped this week. Edward Brito says Carolina didn't want Jimmy. You think he's gonna have a good game? Yeah, it's not that they didn't want him. Again, the shoulder surgery was one of those situations. The timing was just weird. Jimmy tried to go through the conservative route. He didn't want to get surgery. Obviously, you always try to avoid surgery. Like if you can avoid it, you can. It's a smart option. And it was a weird period. Off season, it kind of moves quick. You know, right after this, and the Niners went deep into the playoffs. So that was the other factor. The Niners went into a deep run into the playoffs. So okay, boom. It was like February. By the time the season was over, you got to get a shoulder surgery, maybe. So you're like, let me wait. Let me give it a couple weeks. Let me go conservative route. It didn't work. He's still having pain. He's like, shit, I got to go get a surgery. By the time he had surgery, it's March. That's a long little recovery, right? A couple months down the line, you're into training camp, and it goes quick. So it's not that Carolina did. I don't know if they didn't want him. I think it was just, like I said, timing was just bad. If the Niners didn't make a deep run, we probably would have been able to get rid of Jimmy because he would have had a little bit more time to recover. The shoulder would have been a little bit better. He would have had more time to go and train with those other teams and get right with them and build that chemistry. So I don't think it was nobody really wanted him. It's a timing situation. It was really bad timing. But hey, I think Jimmy's gonna go carve him up, prove him a point. I think Jimmy's gonna have a good game. I think he's gonna throw no interceptions. He's gonna have 2 touchdowns. Kittle's gonna have a touchdown. I think Brandon Ayuk might have a pretty solid game, 80, 70, about 80, 90 yards. Debo's going to get it. I think Debo gets a touchdown at least. But I really feel this team's going to go and drop 30 points on the Panthers. I really do. But I think Jimmy's going to have a good game. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's my prediction. My man Shades says, I think Dre or Huff might hurt CMC. I mean, it's definitely not out the picture. It could be. I heard Purdy was warming up. I did see him warming up a little bit, just got to, in case, Jimmy is coming off a shoulder surgery. He's still not 100%. So let's hope Jimmy can keep that shoulder intact. But it's something to keep an eye on. Something to keep an eye on. And if the Niners this is what I want to see. If the Niners are up big points, like 50 point, 40 point, 30, like whatever. If they're up like 30-6, like we think they are fourth quarter, throw Purdy in there. Get him some reps. Might as well. If Jimmy and the Niners are up big time, fourth quarter, there's no way Carolina's coming back on this team. You ain't blowing a 30-6 lead. Go put him Purdy. Get him some reps. That's what I think. Slick says Breezy's Madden simulation was cheating, and he had the Panthers beating the Niners. Come on, man. That Madden don't know what they're talking about. Let's hope it doesn't happen that way. Let's hope it doesn't happen. Again, it's not. I'm not going to sit here and say it's a guaranteed victory, but I'm pretty confident coming into this game. Schmitty says, "How will Aziz be out? He's supposed to be out for about 8 weeks. He had an MCL strain, so he got about 2 months. Maybe 7 more weeks until Aziz is out. So Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles is going to continue to hold it down. But we got Greenlaw, who's been playing out of his mind, and Fred Warner. I think Fred Warner's playing the best football he's played in his career right now. Like the way he's commanding this team, quarterbacking the team, he's incredible right now. He's flying like a missile, heat-seeking missile. You got missiles out there. You got Dre Greenlaw is playing like a heat-seeking missile. You got Fred Warner playing like a heat-seeking missile. And then you got Talanoa Hufanga. I don't even know what you can call it. He's more than a missile. He's playing like dynamite. I'm telling you, man, this defense is so quick out there. But yeah, Aziz should be out for another 7 weeks. Shade says the Niners lost 34-20 on that sim game. That's despicable. If the Niners lose 34-20 on Sunday, I'll be disgusted. 97 Problem says, I don't know the way Kyle is. I doubt they put him pretty. I doubt they will. But, I mean, there's no point. If you're blowing out a team, don't get players hurt, especially Jimmy. Don't get him hurt. He's a fragile player. He's a fragile. If Jimmy does well, take him out. Let Purdy in. He deserves it. You know? Niner sickness says Aziz won't likely be back till next year. No, he'll be back. 8 weeks. 8-week injury. He'll be back sometime towards the end of the season. You know, MCL sprain. It is a tough injury, though, MCL sprains. Hopefully it doesn't, get any worse. But MCL sprain, that's a 2-month injury, unfortunately. My man Shylock says, Jimmy has some heat on some of his throws versus the Rams. I doubt his shoulder is giving him issues. I mean, you got to imagine it's sore, though. Jimmy doesn't throw a lot, and he's still coming off of shoulder surgery. I still think he's sore. He did say after the game, he says, he's still working into, 100%, trying to get there. And I'm sure he did say there's some soreness a little bit associated with it. I mean, you had a shoulder surgery. Now you're going out there throwing. I'm sure it's sore a little bit. But, I mean, yeah, there was no, big issues. I've seen Jimmy throwing fine. He's throwing better than he was in the playoffs. And, the Tim Kawakami podcast, he was talking about his surgery. And he did mention that it kind of started in that Dallas game, playoffs. That's when it kind of was manifesting, because he had the thumb injury, right? He had the thumb. And he says once the back of the shoulder started hurting, he was like, I didn't even care about the thumb. He's like, that was second fiddle. He goes, the shoulder started becoming a liability. So that's kind of where it started. Dallas, But yeah, he looked okay on that last game. So hopefully his shoulder doesn't bug him too much. But just got to keep building the strength of the shoulder. That's it. That's the bottom line. When you come to any type of injury, especially shoulder, building the stability and the strength is everything you need. So. Yeah, shoulder versus shoulder game. Didn't Baker have a shoulder surgery? All right. Slasher says, Raj, looks like Ridgeway going to get some playing time. Yeah, we talked about Ridgeway and Kevin Givens. Those two guys have been solid inside, right? I like what I've seen out of Ridgeway. I like what I've seen out of Kevin Givens. Kinlaw and Armstead are out. Opens the door for those two guys. I'm glad we signed Ridgeway. That was a nice little depth signing in the offseason. He was hurt a little bit in preseason, but he came back, and he's been a nice little addition to the team. Good depth signing. And Charles Omenihu. Don't sleep on Charles Omenihu. I love the guy. 94. Charles Omenihu, he's been pretty solid since we signed him or traded for him last year. I like the guy. He's been a nice little addition. They got Kerry Hyder. This D-line is it's stacked. It doesn't really matter that Armstead and Kinlaw are out right now. It's early. I love Armstead. I think he could come back later in the season and be a nice little addition back to the team, a little adrenaline boost when we need it. But, man, Armstead, can take some time off because they got Ridgeway, and then, like I said, Kevin Givens and Omenihu and Kerry Hyder. So much talent, so much depth. It's nice to have all this depth right now. It's been fun to see this team just have all this depth. It just makes it like an easier to deal with injuries because Niners always have a lot of injuries. Every football team does, but the fact that we have quality depth, because I don't know if a lot of I know teams have good players on their roster, but the quality of the depth the Niners have and the development of the talent they have is crazy. Because a lot of these players Charles Omenihu could start on another team. Kerry Hyder, he could start on another team. He was a starter, right? Kevin Givens could probably start on another team. Hassan Ridgeway was a starter on another team. Like, these are all quality guys, and they're backups. So. Yeah, my man Shady says, I love Charles as well. That 6'6" length is nice. He's long. They got some big, long guys, pause, on their D-line. They got some length. They got some beasts out there. Omenihu's that guy's bendy too. He's tough. He's powerful. He's a good D lineman. Good. That was a great trade. That was a hell of a trade. Let's see. But yeah, I think the Niners, again, offense is still the issue, but I think that they're waking up, and I think they're going to have a breakout game this week. My man, Niner Sickness says, Kerry Hyder will play in the inside in the absence of Arik Armstead. Yeah, Kerry Hyder's been nice inside, and like I said, Kevin Givens and Hassan Ridgeway, they got a good rotation of those guys. And Omenihu can slide in and out. He can kind of go, pause. He can slide in and out of the line. He can play interior and on the outside. So, just a good versatile D line. Slasher says he forgot about Hyder. That's the thing, man. You forget about some of these guys, but they're out there working. They're out there, They're working in the trenches. You know what I want to see though this week is another strong performance from the Niners offensive line. They did really well last week. Trent Williams is out, so they had Colton McKivitz coming in at left tackle. Then he got hurt. He has an MCL sprain. So then Jalen Moore came in, third string left tackle. He came in and he held his own. So now you got Jalen Moore starting left tackle. You got Aaron Banks, who's played phenomenal this season. He's actually outplayed Laken Tomlinson, the guy he's replaced. He's statistically outplayed him. It's pretty amazing. Shout out Aaron Banks. And Jake Brendel, he's been okay, but he played better last week. He's got to fix that snaps exchange. Played better last week. Spencer Burford, he's still got to clean up those penalties, but he's playing pretty good when he doesn't make penalties. And then they had Brunskill last week rotating. It was a good little rotation. And Mike McGlinchey played pretty good, and then he taunted Jalen Ramsey. So I like what I saw of this O-line. It was a much improved performance last week than the week before against Denver. So I think they can continue off of what they did last week, and that's the key. If this offense can stay steady on the O-line and continue to block, we're good. Slasher says Burford had a rough game. Yeah, he had a rough game because those penalties catch up, and mentally it hurts him. Mentally it hurts his confidence. But, he did say during that game that Brunskill pulled him over onto the side, and he really helped him with the technical things of the game, and that's what he was saying. I was reading that, I think, during the locker room speech interview, somebody had mentioned it, and I went back and watched it. But he says, Brunskill helped him out that game a lot. He kind of gave him some tips, some techniques of how to play against Donald and things like that. So that's the guy. He's still learning. He's still developing, but he's going to make those little mental mistakes. He makes a lot of, penalties, and that's par for the course for most young linemen. They get caught up on little holding, tic-tac, offsides. They don't know the snap count yet, stuff like that. But he's good. He's good, but, not 100% perfect. He's still learning on the fly. So my man LA8 says almost at 200K on my Instagram account. I remember when I was at 20K. I remember those. It's been a grind, man. Shout out to all of you guys that give me support and follow me on all platforms. I'm telling you, man, I can't believe it. 200K. I'll probably hit it this weekend, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know what we got to do something big, but appreciate you. My man Damien says, no, what you want is the offense to get better and start peaking around week 9 so they can catch their stride for the play. That is ideal. You're 100% right, Damien, because it is going to start a little slow. But if they can get better week by week, and then by mid-season, you're like, okay, this is a good, well-oiled machine. And then in the playoffs, they'll be like hitting their stride. You want them to peak in the playoffs. 100%. I agree with you, Damien. Like, if a team can peak in the playoffs, that's what it's all about, because you want to just get there. You want to make it to the playoffs. You got to get to the dance, and you save your best for the end, because if you wear off, if you play everything out, and you play so hard, and you gas out by the time you get to the playoffs, you're gonna lose because you're just exhausted. So you gotta pace yourself. So it's not bad losing some of these games, right? It's not really bad losing some of these games early. You gotta make it to the playoffs. Save your energy, save your best for last. Because you know what they always say, right? It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And 100%, if the Niners can go into the playoffs and finish strong, ain't nobody gonna beat them. His defense is gonna be the factor. So 100%. Jordan says, if our defense struggled against a high power such as KC, Chargers, Bills, I don't think our offense could keep up. That's the question, right? And that's going back to what Damian says, is if they can improve and start peaking against some of these big teams, then it's not going to be an issue. Because the defense is I don't think they're going to struggle against high-powered offenses. I really don't. Because this defense is elite at all three levels. But to entertain your comment, if they do, then you're 100% right. This offense cannot sputter. They cannot struggle. Because against Kansas City, you're going to have to put up points on the board. You can't just put 10 points on the board and expect to win. You got to put some points on the board. And the Bills, too. The Bills can score in bunches and bunches. And, Chargers, too. But I think the Chargers are Chargers are inconsistent. I like the Bills. I like the Chiefs. I think those two teams are a little bit more consistent. No hate on the Chargers. They're just a very inconsistent team, and they have been over the last couple of years. They're like, sometimes you watch them and you're like, oh, wow, Chargers are amazing. Then sometimes you watch them like, what are they doing? They're just an inconsistent team. It might be coaching. It might be just because they got Herbert, who's great. He's young. He's going to make some mistakes up and down. But phenomenal team. Phenomenal team. My man, 49ers Throwback says, happy Friday. Have a good week. Yo, appreciate you. Happy Friday to you. Have a good weekend yourself. Sharia says, can't look ahead to KC. Got to focus on Carolina this year. We're going to be, 100%. I agree. I mean, we can sit here and look ahead, all we want, but they have to stay focused. Team has to stay focused and take it a week at a time. I know it's the cheesy thing to say, week at a time, but the NFL is week to week. It's a week to week, sport. Like, it changes. Things happen so quickly. They change every week. Like, one week you could be on top of the world, dancing, hyped up, and then the next week you're like, playoffs? We talk playoffs? And you don't believe in your team anymore. Just look at us. We're through 4 games. We're 2-2. After Chicago game, everybody was done. We're done. Team's done. Cook it up. Throw it out. Let's just throw it out the window. Bounce back against Seattle. Niners are back. We good. We got this. We lose to Denver. We're done. Cook it out. We're done. This team's terrible. Jimmy's garbage. We won again. The Rams on Monday night. The best team in the NFC. So you see how it changes every week? So you're absolutely right. You got to take care of business every week. You can't look ahead. 100%. I agree. Oh, man. Slasher says, any good quarterback can hurt a good defense. Let's just hope our defense is on the A-plus game when we face it. I think this defense is going to be on an A-plus game throughout. I don't know, man. Like, I just have this vibe about this defense. It's so special. They're so physical. That's the thing. This Niner defense is so physical. They hit you in the mouth. They bloody your lip. And it wears teams down. Like, they're going to give few little dink and dunk passes. They'll let a couple runs here and there. But for the most part, they're going to hit you and hit you and hit you. And eventually, these offenses start feeling it. By the fourth quarter, there'll be a little staggering, little sore. Adds up. Those hits add up. But, Carolina, again, they got a pretty good defense. They got some good players. They're pretty stout against the run. I'll give them that. The Carolina Panthers are a good run team. So, if anything, the Niners being such a heavy run team, if the Niners can't get that run game, then it's going to be on Jimmy's shoulder, and that's when it can get a little dicey. So, Carolina is going to force us to pass. They're going to try to eliminate the run game. But if Debo can get involved, if they can get Jeff Wilson Jr. the ball like he has been, and he executes well, I think we're good. And I want to see Jordan Mason, for the love of God. I don't know about you, but I want to see Jordan Mason finally just give Jordan Mason some carries, please. Please make me have Kyle Shanahan. If you're watching, somebody tell Kyle Shanahan to give Jordan Mason the ball, please. Jordan Mason deserves the ball. Fresh legs, young man, undrafted player, worked his ass off. Give him a few carries. You got nothing to lose. Jordan Mason, let's go. Let's see him get some carries, man. LA says, every team has a bad game. We just overreact. We do. We love this team. We're very emotional. Niner fans are no different than most fans. NFL sports fans are just emotional, right? You wear your emotions on your sleeve, and especially in NFL because it's less games, so every game matters a little bit more. Niner fans, bro, when we lose, it's a, it's a it's ugly. It's ugly. It's an ugly week. When we lose, oh my God. Y'all don't even want to see some of the DMs. You don't want to even see some of the GMs. Oh my God. Look at this comment. Umbress says, I think Juice is going to play a big role in Carolina. It seems like every week they keep using him more and more. Yeah, he's been getting involved a lot more. And I feel like, he's definitely a vital part of the run game. You know how he blocks and everything. But every week he's had a nice little pass. So it would be nice to see Juice utilized in the passing game more. I mean, that's definitely not a hot take. It's definitely something that you've noticed, and it's a pattern. He's been utilized a little bit more and more. So if Juice has a bigger game, I wouldn't be surprised. He definitely has been used in the passing game a lot more. And he makes some. God, Kyle Juszczyk has such good hands for a fullback. Some of the stuff he does is just so incredible. He goes out there, the toe drag swag play is still like rent free in my head. I know we lost that Denver game, but what a highlight! That highlight did not get enough respect, and it sucks because we lost that game. If we would have won that game, the Niners would have won that game. That fullback, the Kyle Juszczyk toe drag swag play would have been getting so much hype. And that's what pissed me off because that was such a great play. And it doesn't get much hype. We'll bring it back later in the year. We'll repost it. In the off season, we get to post old highlights. I can't wait to repost it later in the season. So, Juice is always open. He is always open. So is Brandon Ayuk. Let's hope we get Brandon Ayuk the ball, right? My man says, if Jimmy doesn't turn over the football, I would feel better about our chances. We're going to win even if Jimmy turns the ball over. I'm going to be honest with you. I just feel this team is going to go out and manifest the dub. I really do. I think the Niners are a strong team. They're one of the better teams in the NFC. There's no way they should lose this game. I think Carolina is going to play their ass off because they're 1-3. This is a must-win game for them. Coach is going to be on the hot seat. But I think Jimmy can play a clean game, and I think he will. So that's what I feel. Slasher says, how did we lose to Denver? Oh, my God. Did you guys watch that Denver game last night? Russell Wilson, and I got an argument yesterday on Instagram on my live. Y'all saw that. I don't know if you saw it, but dude in the comments, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. And I said that Geno Smith is outplaying Russell Wilson. And literally facts, Geno Smith is playing better than Russell Wilson. He's cooking. Russell Wilson's not cooking. And I feel Pete Carroll has a lot to do with how Russell Wilson was used and how he was in Seattle. And I'm not going to take anything away from Russ because he's been a great quarterback over his career. Great player. No disrespect. He's owned the Niners. Kryptonite to the Niners. But if you look at the stats, simple facts will tell you Geno Smith is outplaying Russell Wilson. And Geno Smith, the difference is coaches. Nathaniel Hackett is a horrible coach out there for Denver, okay? Pete Carroll is great. I hate the Seahawks, and I hate Pete Carroll and whatever they've done. It's a rivalry. But you got to respect, Pete Carroll's a great coach. This Seahawks team should have been, if you look at this team, they've competed in all their games. They're 2-2. I mean, if you would have asked me before the season started, I would have told you they're 0-4. They're 2-2. Geno Smith is playing out of his mind. His completion percentage is tops in the league. Guy's playing damn good. He's outplaying Russell Wilson. The Broncos, I don't think they score more than 10 points a game. Maybe 16 one time against Houston. They are not scoring the ball very well. And they're supposed to have this great quarterback, Russell Wilson, $250 million. And he went and challenged former Defensive Player of the Year, Stephon Gilmore. Why are you throwing it to Gilly? You got picked, okay, you just needed to run the ball. What Sherman was getting PTSD. He said, run the ball. And then in overtime, you decide to throw it to Gilmore again when KJ Hamler was literally wide open. You're getting $250 million and you miss a wide open receiver? Unbelievable. Geno Smith's outplaying Russell Wilson. And it is crazy that the Niners lost to Denver. It is so crazy. Self-inflicted wounds. We shot ourselves in the foot. Looking back at that loss to Denver is so bad. It's so bad. It's so bad. Yeah, Niner sickness says, I agree. Geno Smith is definitely playing better than Russell Wilson at this season. And all those draft capital, all the draft picks, the Seahawks fleeced them. You're absolutely right, Niner sickness. Like, they fleeced them. They got all the draft picks, and Geno Smith is him right now. Sad Niners fan. Russ looking like Jimmy G. No, Jimmy G is looking way better than Russell Wilson. What am I going to say? Russell Wilson getting cooked, bro. The worst part, oh, let's talk about this. The worst part of that game last night, okay? After the game, Russell Wilson on the press conference, the post game presser. He's at the podium. Can you He said Broncos country. That's right. It was like a sad Broncos country. That's right. Bro, you just got cooked up. You're the reason your team lost the game. And you have the audacity to go out there and say, Broncos country, let's ride. What are you doing, Russ? What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, my God. So, yeah, we had to bring that up. I can't believe the Niners lost. Broncos country, let's ride. The fact that God, Russ is so cringe. So cringe. And I can't believe the Niners lost to him this year. I can't. Yeah, he says he's playing like a $2.50 quarterback. $250, not $250 million. A $2.50 quarterback. Read the room, says Nia. Read the room. Oh my God. California Patriot. The line is 6.5. 49ers win 20-10. Carolina gets a lucky TD early because of a short week and a long travel for the Niners. D sets in and shuts down. Often finds the end zone twice with 2 field goals. I like it. That's a good. If we win 20-10, and that's what happens, I'll be happy with it. But I think we're gonna win 30-6. But I do think the travel could affect them. That's definitely something to. Yeah, that's definitely something. The travel definitely affects the team. I'll buy that. I could buy that. But I just think the Niners are going to come out and they're going to be playing with a lot of motivation. And I think they're going to come out hitting on all blocks. And I just think that the Niners are going to come out and they're going to win 30-6. That's my prediction. Drop your guys' predictions in the comments. And then if you go back to the stream and watch this, or if you're watching this and you're not live here, just drop your comments. I want you to put your score prediction in the comments on this stream later in the day or right now. Just make sure you drop your prediction. If somebody gets the score right, we'll shout you out sometime next week. So, my man says, Niner Sickness says, hopefully that game in Denver was a wake-up call. I think it was a wake-up call. I mean, obviously, it seemed like they played a lot better last week compared to that Denver game. That Denver game was ugly, man. It was brutal. But I do think it was a wake-up call, not just for Jimmy, but for Kyle. Because the offensive game calling was a lot better against the Rams. But also, too, you got to realize Kyle Shanahan knows how to play McVay. He knows the Rams. He lives rent-free in them. He knows how to game plan against McVay. But I do think that they really, really played a lot better. They executed well. They executed better. And that was the other issue. That Denver game, they just didn't execute well at all. At all. So it was definitely nice to see them start to kind of wake up a little bit. But I think that they're going to wake up a lot more. I think George Kittle has a breakout game. Drop some predictions. Drop some hot takes for this game. Who's going to score touchdowns? Who's going to score first? What's the defense going to do? Who's going to get interceptions? Put them in the comments. Let's go over it. Let's talk about this game. Give me your predictions. I've given you my predictions. I think the Niners are going to win 30-6. I think Nick Bosa has 2 sacks. I think Talanoa Hufanga has an interception. I think Jimmy Garoppolo throws 2 touchdowns. I think George Kittle gets a touchdown. I think Deebo Samuel has a touchdown. So let's see some of your score predictions. 40-10 Niners, says LA8. And has anyone thought about the D-line get better without D Ford? Oh, 100% they're better without D Ford. D Ford never played. I mean, look at Samson Ebicam's everything we wanted out of D Ford and more. Drake Jackson's still learning. He's only going to get better. Nick Bosa is the god. That's it. This defense, D Ford never even got to do anything for us except steal money. 97 Problems says 23-17. Shady says 26-7. Niner Sickness says, can you imagine being a Broncos fan right now? I would have been sick. I would have been sick if I was a Broncos fan last night watching that game. Did you see the Broncos fans? They left the stadium before overtime. The game was going into overtime. They're leaving. They were embarrassed. The Broncos fans were leaving the stadium. The game was going to overtime, and they left the stadium. Can you imagine being a Broncos fan right now? I can't imagine. Slasher Gamer says, call me crazy, but I think Jimmy is more accurate than Wilson. I'm not gonna sit here and say you're not wrong. I'm not gonna say you're wrong because Jimmy, what's he throwing right now? Let's see. Let's pull up the stats. Let me see this. Let's see Jimmy Garoppolo's percentage right now, completion percentage. Let's see it right now. Let's see it. I'm gonna pull up the stats right now. I'm gonna pull up the stats. We're gonna find out for you. Right now, he's throwing 61% completion. He's played 3 games, well, 2.5, 61%. Let's see Russell Wilson. 61% for Jimmy. Okay, let's see. 59.4 for good old Russ, but he has played more, so it's the sample size is not the same, right? Because Russell Wilson's thrown a lot more, but right now, Jimmy Garoppolo 61% completion percentage, Russell Wilson 59.4. I'm gonna leave it at that. Pete says, I would love to see the Bills offense versus our defense. Oof. If that's a Super Bowl, Bills versus Niners, it's going to be a bloodbath. Because the Bills offense is so well designed. And the Niners defense is so physical. It'd definitely be a chess match. It'd be fun. I hope I could see the Bills playing the Niners in the Super Bowl. Can't count out the Chiefs. You know, I mean, I don't know who's going to beat the Niners in the NFC playoffs. Eagles are looking good. Rams, we could get the best of them. We should have beat them 3 times last year. I don't know if the Rams can beat some of these other teams in the playoffs. So as long as they get knocked out, we're good. Eagles, they're beatable. Dallas, they don't do anything in the playoffs. Tampa Bay, Tom Brady's going through shambles. His life's in shambles right now. He's got a divorce. That's going to mentally mess him up. Let's see. Sharia says, I think Brandon Ayuk gets a touchdown off a fake screen to Debo. D bites on it, and Ayuk slips wide open. Woo! Let's go. Brandon Ayuk fake screen to Debo. D bites, and then he slips wide open for a TD. I hope that. That'd be nice. So let's hope that happens, my man. Let's see. Jordan Ismail says 17-3. I think the defense plays elite. Offense struggled against a good defense. Niners win. Yeah, that's fair. That's a very fair take. 17-3. The Niners offense could struggle because it is a great defense. Carolina does have some ballers on defense. Again, we did talk about that earlier. So 17-3, it's realistic. I could see it. Let's get to some more of these. Jimmy Ward, pick 6, first game back. Ooh, if he gets a pick 6 first game back, all hail to Jimmy. All hail, Jimmy, baby. My man, Sad Niner fan says, often needs to figure out how to score the ball in the second half. They have amazing drive a game. You know, that's something we've talked about. It's like they're always good. They have this like great drive, and you're like, Kyle's a genius. Look at that, 10-yard. It's like a 10-play, 11-play drive, and it's just magical. And you're like, look at him march down the field. Then after that, it doesn't happen again. And then you're like, what's going on? And then the second half, they sputter. So I agree, Sad Niner fan. They need to figure out how to keep the ball going and how to score as the game continues. Because it's like they're content with one touchdown. They're like, look how fucking great we were on that drive. And then it goes away. And then it's punt, interception, punt. Like, that's how it goes. Or field goal. And I feel the red zone efficiency is not as good this year. Like last year, they were the best red zone team in the NFL, which is kind of weird that they've gotten to the red zone this year and they've kind of sputtered. In the red zone. So I need them to improve that because they have had opportunities to score, just not capitalizing. So I think that if they can clean up their mistakes and if they can capitalize in the red zone, because again, they have made it to the red zone. If they can fix that red zone efficiency, we're good. But that's a good comment. Schmitty says, convert on third down, we win. Simple as that. Niners didn't win against Denver because they couldn't get a damn third down. What are they? 1 for 10? 1 for 10 is hard to win a game when you're 1 for 10 on third down. So 100% I agree. I agree. My man, Ron's War. You think the Niners will stay on the East Coast after Carolina since yeah, they are actually. That's their it's their East Coast trip. It's the 2-week game, so they're going to stay in the Greenbrier in West Virginia. You know how I can't even speak today. Slurring my words. I've been talking for an hour. They're staying in the Greenbrier, West Virginia. So they are staying out in the East Coast. They're not coming back to the West Coast until they have to come back for Kansas City. So yes, to answer your question, they are staying in the East Coast. Good question. 97 Problems says Ayuk, slant touchdown. Debo, 176 yards, 1 touchdown. Kittle, touchdown. Hey, Yak Bros all scored touchdown. I'll be happy. 97 Problems. California Patriots says Drake Jackson, Defensive Player of the Year. Eventually, maybe one day. I like him. He's good. He's developing good. Damian Lee says 22-10 Niners. The Slasher Gamer says 27-10. El Boris says the Broncos country. Let's cry. Let's cry. JT, our defense has a shutout statement, goes off, and Ayuk goes off. I like it. I want to see if Ayuk goes off, goes crazy, man, the hype's going to be unreal. I would love to see Ayuk have a big game. Defense can definitely shut them out. They've been playing amazing. I can believe Amazon showing Broncos fans leaving that stadium. If I'm Goodell, I'm pissed off at Amazon. That was embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing, Shades. Absolutely. Pete says, I would love to see the Bills offense versus our defense. We talked about that already. Let's see. Let's see, a couple more questions. Jimmy throws for 300 yards. Bosa gets a sack and a half. A sack and a half, and D-line does well again. I think 2 sacks. Damian Lee says Kyle doesn't know how to make adjustments, and the game goes on. That's the big knock we've said about Kyle is adjustments are something that he lacks, and I hope he can continue to improve in that area because that's why he's lost big games. He doesn't make those adjustments, and I agree with that. I think hopefully he gets better at that because if he wants to win a Super Bowl, he has to make the adjustments. You have to play a complete game. It's like he plays 3 out of the 4 quarters, and he doesn't make that final adjustment. But second half, he does sputter. He doesn't make those adjustments, you know. He overthinks things, but there was a great game against the Rams. He called a great game. So. Anthony says, if we went to the Super Bowl last year, we would have got smoked out because Jimmy play sucked. I don't know. I think we still could have beat Cincinnati. I really think we could have beat them because our defense was pretty good. This year's better. I think the Niners could have. I mean, if the Rams could have beat the Bengals, I think the Niners could have beat the Bengals. I don't know. It would have been interesting, but we didn't make it, so we'll never know. The world may never know. The world may never know. Jordan says it's like Kyle in the game plans for one drive. It's because he has that script. And after that script, he has like a certain like tendency, and he has like 5 plays, and he doesn't go away from those 5 plays. But I mean, if they're working, don't stop. But he does need to make those adjustments. Slasher says Shanahan is great at scripting the first 20. Yeah, that's what we said. The script. He has a great script. And after the script, it's like, I think he should make his script longer, right? Maybe he should make a script for 100 plays. Maybe Shanahan should just make a 100-play script. It would be good. It's a 100-play script. We're good. My season prediction, we're still going 11-6. That's what I got. I'm not going away from it. Oh, man. My man says, I really hope we see Danny Gray soon. He has potential. He's healthy, I guess. He didn't miss any practice this week. He's been a full participant. I hope we get some burn out of Danny. But, you know, he's a young rookie receiver. He's got to learn a lot. He's still going through the motions. It's unfortunate that he's not getting a chance yet. But you got to remember, he's a rookie. This offense is very complicated. It takes time to learn to develop. And I think, you know, also you got to remember that Danny Gray was drafted to be Trey Lance's secret downfield weapon. Well, it was not really a secret, but it was supposed to be his, like, you know, downfield deep pass weapon. Jimmy Garoppolo is not going to throw you the ball 50, 60 yards. So it's a little different offense now with Jimmy back in the mix. So I do want to see Danny Gray get in there. And you can slant him out. You can throw those little slants. You could use him as a wide back, jet sweep. They could utilize. He has 4.2 speed. Andy Reid, if he had Danny Gray on his offense, he would figure a way to utilize that speed. Jet sweep, reverse, slant, screen. I don't need to throw it deep. Get him the ball. He's fast. Let him use his speed. So I do agree. I want to see Danny Gray get utilized in this. I want to see a lot of players. But it is early. He is a rookie. He's got to go through the lumps. He's got to go through the motions. Shanahan's tough. We know he is. Tough lover. Tough love. See, Jordan says Danny Gray will struggle with Jimmy because he doesn't throw the. See, that's the thing. Everybody gets this misconception that just because he's a deep ball receiver, he's going to struggle. You don't need to just. You're limiting yourself. So you guys are thinking one-dimensional. You're living in a one-dimensional world. You got to think 2 or 3 dimensions, right? You got to think of, okay, how can Kyle utilize a guy's talent to get him in the offense? You figure out a way to get him the ball. Like Deebo Samuel, you figure out a way to get him the ball, right? You throw him a screen pass. You throw him a slant. You toss the ball to him. You jet sweep him. You reverse. So I think if they get creative, and Kyle Shanahan is the offensive guru, right? He's the offensive mastermind. If he's smart, he will figure out a way to get him the ball. You don't need to throw deep. Now, granted, when Trey's back, then you can uncork it and you let Danny Gray play to his full potential. But right now, use his speed. Throw him out there. Short passes. Let him be a yak brother. Let him be a yak brother. That's it. That's Jimmy Garoppolo. Facilitate getting the ball to the playmakers. 5-yard pass, 6-yard pass, 10-yard slant, and let them do what they do best. Run after the catch. Patek says Danny is useless. Right now he is. I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm not going to disagree. Right now he's useless. I'm useless. We're all useless right now. But he is. Jordan says, but Kyle has to trust Ricky. That is a true statement. Kyle will only utilize, not just rookies, any player. If he don't trust you, you got to earn the man's trust. You got to learn how to get out of that doghouse. You got to bark when he says bark. You got to beg when he says beg. It's a doghouse, and you got to find your way out of it. It's Kyle Shanahan, man. Brandon Ayuk was scratching at the door of the doghouse, and he broke free. You know, Dante Pettis was shackled in the doghouse, but he could never get out of it. You got to find your way out of the doghouse. So, anyways, I love you guys. I'm going to go check on my daughter. I'm going to make some food. We're going to watch Hocus Pocus tonight. We're going to decorate the house Halloween style. It's October. It's her favorite month. One of my favorite months. I love Halloween. We're going to do it up. I'm going to get some rest. I'm going to eat some food. I'll probably be live on Instagram a little later. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Hope you have a good weekend. I love you. Hit the like button. Drop the score in the comments, please. And we'll talk about it later in the week. I hope we get a dub. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Let's go Niners. Let's get a big victory in Carolina and celebrate Monday, Victory Monday. That's what I hope we're doing. I hope we have a big Victory Monday celebration in a few days. So I love you. Have a good rest of your day. Bang, bang. Niner gang.